Hey,
Hi, I'm Dr. Traci,
I'm Mr. Pasquale.
and today we're going to talk about new moons. New
Moons.
moons. I have my shirt. This is a full moon shirt, but this is
There's
very true.
moons. There are moons
Yes.
present in your shirt. We're here to talk about the moon and how it affects us. The moon is a huge thing. Like and I don't even know if everyone knows, but the moon is so connected to everything about human life, right?
Mhm.
The tides, emotion,
Mm-hmm.
it's all tied to the moon.
Right. Well, people think it's like, people like it could be like woo woo type stuff, and people are like, oh, that's ridiculous. But I think that's so arrogant of humans to even discount its effect on us, because one, I mean, the moon cycles control the ocean. Like, I mean,
The
what
largest
is
thing
more
in our planet.
right? I mean, what is more powerful, right? And then you think us, we're mostly made up of water. So why wouldn't it also affect us if we're being literally pushed and pulled like the tides?
Yeah.
So it's
Listen,
crazy to me that people discount the effect.
I have a few friends that are in the medical field.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And
Yep.
I have one friend who specifically works the ER,
Mm-hmm.
and she used to call me and be like, "Is it a full moon?"
Mm-hmm.
Because it is like rampant,
Yeah.
just lots of emotion,
Mm-hmm.
and it would make sense. The moon is
Yeah.
full. We're all feeling its light, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's funny that you mentioned woo woo, because I do live in the woo woo.
Right.
But it's really not woo. It's just natural,
It's
like life.
scientific evidence now. I mean, they call it a phenomenon, the emergency room phenomenon of the full moon.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, that is well.
It's a real
researched
thing.
and
People are
documented.
angry on full moons.
Yeah.
Do you ever drive? They're like beeping at you, cutting you off. It's like,
I
oh
try
my god,
not
it's a full
to.
moon, because everyone is going nuts.
Yeah. So we want to talk about how we use the moons, and we can briefly discuss full moon and new moon.
Totally.
And then just briefly discuss how we can take advantage of that push and pull, of that energy to serve our needs and to help us.
Yeah, I love it.
Cool.
So let's start with new moon, since
Okay.
it's like the new thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the first phase of the moon, right? So like the moon, when it is new, is typically, and I say typically because it all depends on the season, but typically the new moon is in the same orbit as the sun. So like they're around at the same time, and in the sky at the same time. So new moon is typically a time at night where there is no moon, which is why it's called new, right? Because it's not there.
And it's dark.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you're in a new moon phase and you're in the desert and there are no lights, you're gonna be dark.
Yeah.
And scary, and don't do it in the summer. But like the new moon for me has always been a time of like requests, right? It's really about manifesting. And what farmers used to say is you plant your crop at the new moon and it will harvest by full. Right, so it's that 28-day kind of like cycle, or not 28-day, but that 2-week cycle of it kind of growing and starting to grow. But the whole point of it is that the new moon is the time to plant your seed. Well, funny you mention that, because the moon is connected to the menstrual cycle.
Right.
It is 28 days.
Right.
And that's the moon cycle, is 28 days.
Yeah.
And so like the new moon is the time where you plant the seeds for your future crop, right? And so for me, it's always been a time of manifesting. Whenever you're around a new moon is the time when you want to ask, right? You want to request, you want to manifest that thing that you need today. And a lot of times what you want to do is you want to kind of make sure that what you're requesting is aligned with the energy of the current moon. And what happens is, and we should probably back up, every moon will have a different zodiac sign that it will fall in, right? And so depending on the month, depends on what the new moon or full moon zodiac sign will be, which then determines the type of energy.
And that can easily be looked up online.
Anywhere.
Right.
Just
yeah. And even people who don't necessarily aren't into new moon, full moon, the woo-woo side of it, psychologically, it's just a good reminder to focus our intentions on what we do want to bring into our life.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we focus on maybe what we don't want, but not necessarily what we want. And so it's just a good reminder and, very basic of, to just think, and so we can refocus our attention. Maybe we need to, and think about what we need to do to get there, whether it's, refocusing our priorities, or making sure that the steps we're doing every day are kind of, where are those day-to-day steps taking us? Are they taking us towards what we want? And this is a good check-in, as a reminder. Once a month we get this check-in, so it kind of will help keep us on track.
Totally.
So
I totally agree with that. I actually use the full moon as a time when I cleanse the home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So every full moon, I cleanse the home because I want to get rid of things. And I jumped ahead, of course.
So it's just like a good calendar in a sense.
Yeah, it's an internal calendar. It's the oldest calendar known to man. It's been around longer than us. And it's still here. The moon is still here. So it's a good thing. The full moon, on the other hand.
Well, before we go to the full moon, do you have any other suggestions of how people can bring in what they want besides
totally.
For me, I tell people to write things down, just like your goal setting, or setting your intentions. Write things down, put, have maybe things up in your bedroom, or something on the refrigerator, something to kind of see that intention every day, to remind you what you're working towards. Do you have any other suggestions?
I will say, for me, I'm a big meditator. Meditation's my thing. And I would say for the new moon, oftentimes what you want to do is really just connect with it, and just kind of really go into a meditation and attempt to connect with the energy of that moon, right? Mm-hmm. So just visualize the moon and visualize kind of that connection with the moon.
Connecting with that light, your energy connecting with the moon's
exactly.
energy.
And just letting it just kind of fill you. And then once it's filled, you kind of just say, okay, what is it that I need? And then whatever that is, go about your manifesting, right? So for me, I always say start with the gratitude, right? Mm-hmm. I am thankful for, what do you want? Mm-hmm. Right? And then just write it every day until the next new moon.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's how I would do a new moon.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's move into
full moon,
because that's kind of
moon
the opposite.
Is when the werewolves come out. Just kidding.
That's our little spirit. My dog.
The full moon is really the time where the energy of the moon is at its height, right? Mm-hmm. And so that it's at its height because it lights up the night sky.
Mm-hmm. Food for thought. Did you know Ted Bundy, the serial killer? He would purposely hunt on a full moon so he didn't have to bring a flashlight.
Again, the full moon will light their way in the desert.
Sorry.
That's a scary thing.
I don't know why I know that.
I don't know that.
Okay, moving on. Sorry.
Oh, that's just scary to me.
That's so creepy.
It's totally creepy.
But it's so matter of fact, like a serial killer. Okay, anyway, sorry.
That's another story for another day, because I don't do serial killers. They do. We're good.
Okay.
But I mean, I think there's a logic to that also, is that
it's extremely logical. That's what's so creepy about it.
To light his way, but also the full moon kind of energizes you, mm-hmm. right? It kind of brings out this other side.
Oh, that's a good point.
Which is why so many people are heightened during the full moon.
Yep, and motivated.
And people
Didn't even think of that part of it.
The ER is the busiest at a full moon.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing about the full moon is that, to me, that's always a time to release, which goes along the lines of, when your energy is really high, what's your self-care? Let the energy go, right? And so it's about bringing that balance back. And mm-hmm. so what I will typically recommend during a full moon is obviously look at progress on what you're manifesting, right? Because the new moon comes first. So look at the new moon and where are you at the manifesting? How's it going? And release any negative that you may be feeling about what you're manifesting in the prior moon, right? So
like what could be blocking you from receiving?
exactly. So
that's a good
let's
idea.
say like you're manifesting the perfect date, right? Or the perfect spouse or partner, right? And you put that as your intention at the new moon. At the full moon, what you want to do is check in. How is this going? Have I gone on any dates? Have I met any people? And you just kind of cross it through your mind and go, well, I haven't gone on any dates. Well, why? Right? Oh, because you haven't gone out. You just stayed home, or you've just been so busy, or you were sick, or whatever it could be, right? But that's a time where you go, okay, I'm going to let go of that thing that's blocking me from doing that. And so I'm going to use the full moon's energy to help me release it. And so just similar to the new moon, go into that meditation, feel yourself connect with the moon, feel kind of like that light just kind of penetrating, being a part of you, and then just allow yourself to release it. Visualize the release. The other thing that you could do is a burning ceremony. Write whatever it is that you want to let go of, throw it into the fire, shred it. Do not throw it into a fire like on your table. Make sure it's outside or in a fireplace. I always have to say that.
Oh, I know.
There's truth. But like that's a great thing to do during full moon.
That's my go-to, the burning ceremonies.
I love burning. I actually, even shredding is fun. Just going through a shredder and just watching it go, let it go. And you just feel better. And you release the block, right? And then what happens is that will allow you to kind of open your energy up to be able to let the new moon energy continue to move, right? And so 28 days from that new moon, you go back to, I'm now at the next new moon has what I manifested come.
Would either new moon or full moon also be a good time to do self-care activities like massage, because that's like a release? You talked about blocking energy, or like Reiki, or maybe a Epsom salt bath.
I think a great thing to do during one of the moons, whether it's new or full, is to kind of look at where's your energy at, kind of feel your vibe, right?
Okay.
Because it goes back to during a full moon, you're probably going to want more of a coping skill. And you're going to want to keep that present
because you're
going to be so heightened.
Got it.
You're going to want to release,
Makes
right?
sense.
And don't release on your horn or yelling at people. Let's try to change that. Let's make it a little different.
Right.
But that would be like, let's go for a run. On the full moon, I'm going to run because I know my energy is always heightened.
Energy. Oh, got it. Okay.
You know what I mean?
And then maybe on the new moon, you're more like meditating. You're more like self-reflection. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. Okay.
It's typically a good way to look at it. But I mean, like anything, I use the full moon to be every time there's a full moon, I know it's time for me to sage the home, right? So I always sage the house on the full moon. I always charge my crystals on the full moon.
Yeah, I do my crystals.
I also charge my crystals on the new moon. I just put them up in the daytime versus at night.
Oh, okay.
So, you kind of base it off of that. Like, you can create little cycles for yourself.
Right, so it's a good reminder. Even if you're not into the moons, it's a great, alarm.
It's the greatest.
On your calendar, right?
It's the greatest little alarm that goes off because you wake up and you see it. I mean, I don't know about you, but the full moon gets me every time because it always lights up. And I will tell you, I'm always up that night.
Yeah.
Every first night of the full moon, I'm always like... And I'm like, God, am I like half werewolf or something? Like, what is making this happen?
I get so restless. I'm like up for like 2-3 hours in the middle.
But it's because we're absorbing so much energy, grounding is a good thing to do on a full moon. Like, I actually recommend always kind of releasing energy even after you kind of go through the blocks and you release kind of what's holding you back. Yeah. Release excess energy, not hold on to it.
Yeah, and if you need any help on grounding, we have another episode on grounding.
We do. We have a full episode about that. And also leave comments. We'll be happy to help guide and talk through some of that.
All right. Thank you.
Well, until next time, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.